out into the sun. So not 100% sure where she's heading, but well, she's on her own little mission, and why not? I suppose if you're a little cub, you can decide exactly where you want to be for yourself. There we go. And she's now positioned herself. Now, of course, I've got the aerial, unfortunately, in the way a little bit, which is not ideal. Aaron, big cat claws can break. I've seen it happen to lionesses and lions that have climbed trees before, so their claws can break. It will regrow again. It's much like your toenail. If your toenail comes off, it does grow back again. It's the same with their claws. It just takes a bit of time until they get it right and until they're able to blend it all, well, to be able to get it back and working functionally again. But they do break from time to time. You can imagine the amount of stress and strain that's put on those claws sometimes, particularly when an adult female like this is taking up an impala carcass that weighs, double what she does, or maybe not double, but close to, and as well as her own weight up. Sometimes those claws are put under serious strain, and you might find a little break or a chip comes out of it, or the tip breaks off, and so that will regrow. And that's why they constantly are honing their claws. So you'll see they go up to a tree and they kind of scratch on the tree itself, and that's just to sharpen those claws up and make sure that they're in good condition. Here comes Shadow. Where are you going, girl? What are you doing? No wonder we were battling to track them yesterday. If she was moving around like this, I imagine it would be very similar to how she was yesterday, and it makes it tough to track their animals when they do circles like this. It's not easy. But there we go. That's a much better, shadier spot that she's decided to spend some time in. You can see she's sniffing around there. I wonder if maybe that's where they disemboweled it and got rid of some of that stomach content. Well, you're not finished toilet time? Well, it seems like a little bit of an afterthought, doesn't it? Still watching Mom ever so closely. Hyenas are still sleeping. I can see them in the distance. They kind of just having it. Let's see. Michelle, my favorite big cat to study would be definitely these guys. I seriously enjoy spending time with leopards. They are by far my favorite animal, not even of the cats or predators. I just love spending time with them themselves, and I find their dynamics incredibly interesting. I feel like there's a lot of differences between areas that they spend time in, and there's a lot of behavioral differences in leopards, and a lot that we don't understand. As we're now spending a lot more time with them, and we're able to access sort of times that are a little bit unusual, and we spend long periods, we're able to see patterns and behavior that typically was not really well understood. And so if you think of something like the Hosana following Tundi story, the 3 male leopards in the same sighting that we had the other day, where Tingana, Tumba and Hosana all were around a kill together and we're showing no real aggression. These kind of things are all different things that if you read books would tell you that's impossible, it wouldn't happen, and that's not true. So I love watching leopards in the fact that they break the rules a lot of the time, and they are incredibly good at adapting to their environment to be able to survive, and adapting to an area to be able to thrive and grow, and populations to thrive in those areas. And they're the most successful of the big cats if we look across Africa. Unfortunately, lions, given that their size, have been poached and hunted and are fairly easy to find in comparison to a leopard. And well, cheetah, we know, we've also been in a steady decline as well. So leopards really have done the best out of all of them, and it's because of how adaptable they are, that they occur in all kinds of different environments, from urban environments to savannas to mountains to riverine to even being seen on beaches in parts of Africa. They really can move around everywhere and survive everywhere. So, and it's an amazing animal just to watch. It's powerful, it's beautiful, and they display a lot of characteristics that I just like. I like the fact that they have to struggle against all of this on their own, and that they still are as successful as we see them. So this is by far my favorite big cat. I know a lot of people will be lions, and a lot of people love lions and want to follow them. I don't know. For me, lions are great, and I do like spending time with lions, and I love watching them move around, but nothing is better than spending time with a leopard, that's for sure. Shadow is funny because only now that the cub is kind of showing interest and is looking up at Mom and trying to kind of get up there, she's starting to feed again. It's almost like she has to just show the cub, no, I'm still hungry and I'm still eating, you have to wait there. But I think the little one is starting to kind of want to get up and go that direction, but it knows if Mom is there, it won't go up. And this is an interesting part about leopard behavior, is that for some reason they just don't share carcasses. They will just give each other turns more than anything else, and so they feed, and then once they've had their fill, they move away, and the next one comes in. It's a strange thing, you know. If you look at lions, they'll all mob a carcass, and they'll all eat and crunch and bite, and everybody has a feed together, whereas leopards seem to be far more civil about the whole process as they go about their business. So unfortunately, Shadow's cub knows that it's just good manners to be patient and wait. Ryan, the cub won't experiment with going away from mom yet. At the moment, it's still small. It knows that mom is safe. That's where its safety point is mom will protect it, mom will provide food for it. So venturing away from mom is a bad idea. So you'll find that it'll play around, and it will run ahead of mom, and it will run behind her, and it'll go up and down trees and all those kind of things, but it's not going to venture away in terms of trying to find its own area to go and mess around in. That's for it still has that bond with mom, and it knows mom is its secure source and its secure food sort of area, and knows that where mom is, that's where she's going to thrive and be healthy. So she's not going to move away from that. There's lots of big scary things out there that she doesn't want to encounter, and so you find that these cubs try and stay with mom as long as possible. And I was saying earlier that there's some cubs that have even stayed until 3.5, and it's only when mom starts getting aggressive with this cub that she then starts to try and forge her own way and try and move away and find her own little place to settle and to end up developing. So no, little one won't venture. It will try and stay as close as possible. I mean, they might have a little kind of wonder if they left somewhere. So if mom leaves her, let's say at Treehouse Dam, she might wander around Treehouse Dam a bit and chase the odd thing here and there, but she's not going to go too far. She's not going to end up in a situation where she's, wandered off towards Little Gowrie or to Chitwa or to Mala Mala or something like that. She's going to stay fairly localized to where mom left her for now. As like I say, as the bond starts breaking down and Shadow starts getting aggressive with her, so she's going to have to start moving and heading into different areas in order to be able to survive and set up her own territory. And you can see she's awake now because there's just 2 vehicles have just joined us simultaneously, and so I think cub is just a bit bewildered by all of the noise and things that are going on at once, which is why it shouldn't really happen. But anyway, now I wonder where they're going to go from here, because it seems as though Shadow has been spending a lot of time to our south and towards Little Gowrie side, and I know the cub was on Little Gowrie and was fetched from there and brought this side yesterday, so it will be interesting to see which way she heads from here, if she heads straight south or if she goes west towards Arethusa. It seems as though Shadow has spent less and less time in Arethusa and more time into Hofmans and our side and Little Gowrie, which is a hole that was left by Kwatile, and it's taken a long time in order to fill that hole. We've had a situation where Kwatile disappeared, and we thought that maybe it was a snake bite or something like that, and that section has remained largely underutilized. I mean, Kruger used to go in there a bit, but not much, and so it looks as though Shadow is now filling that vacuum quite a bit, and she's now using this sort of linear pattern between Arethusa and the Mulawati going north-south, and so it's going to be interesting whether she pushes a little bit further east from here, west, north. I'm interested to watch her movements from this particular carcass, because I have a funny feeling she's going to head back south. I don't think she's going to actually go west or east. I think it's going to be straight back south past Treehouse Dam and then south into Little Gowrie again. That's what I think anyway. Right, now I believe the lady and gentleman all the way in Kenya are still having a little struggle with these 5 cheetah boys, and I believe Scott is now employing a new technique where he's getting out his far lookers to try and have a little scan around, and hopefully he'll be able to spot something using the magnifying glass that he's using.
I am indeed. We've made it onto the western side of the Mara River. Let's just show you Lookout Hill quickly. We were on the other side of that hill when we last showed it to you, and looking forward to seeing now what we can find as we meander our way back upstream along the western banks of the Mara River. It takes quite a bit of getting used to seeing these areas just void of game, having been here when there was thousands and thousands of wildebeest. This is a very, very busy area during the migratory months, and a lot of the crossing points are just off to our right, a lot of the main crossing points. We sadly don't have any of our river cameras down at these crossing points. Our river cams are further upstream. Is that just to the left of that tree? There's something white. It could be it's a Tommy with a baby. Hi Joy, you would like to know what is the difference between a ranger, a guide? Just a little bit lower there on the bottom left of your screen. There's just a little, I thought it may have been a cheetah, but it's a Tommy with a baby. Joe, you'd like to know what is the difference between a ranger, a guide, and a tracker, and I'm going to add in a fourth one for you, a spotter. So, rangers and guides are essentially the same thing, depending on who you're talking to. In South Africa, the term game ranger is the same as being a safari guide. However, it's also can be a little bit confusing because rangers often also refer to the kind of park rangers, the guys that are actually doing the anti-poaching and hands-on conservation efforts to maintain areas. So I think the better word to use for a guide is a guide, and a ranger would be somebody who wears camouflage or green clothing and doesn't deal with tourists as a general rule. Then trackers and spotters are similar things, but here in Kenya they are called spotters, and in South Africa they are called trackers. And I think it is fair to say that even though some of the spotters in Kenya will do tracking, they are not in general as well trained as the South African trackers. They may just follow the tracks along the road, while they're driving, but they're often not going to get off the vehicle and follow the tracks until they find the animals and then call their guide in. So they are more vehicle-based as a general rule. You very seldom get spotters sitting on the seats on the front of the vehicle, like you'll see the trackers sitting on when Tristan's driving around in Djuma on the other vehicles. Interestingly, though, I did see a vehicle here in the Mara the other day which had a tracker seat on the front, but it's very uncommon to have those here in Kenya. Hope that works for you, Joy, and that you now understand the kind of differences. Trackers and guides are often teamed up together as set teams, so at lodges in South Africa where you get trackers, and the same thing here with spotters and guides in Kenya. They typically form a team, and it's very important that they do because there's a lot of teamwork that goes into it. The guide's got different roles and responsibilities to the tracker or the spotter, and typically the guide's going to be doing a lot more of the chatting to the guests and explaining of things, while the spotter or tracker's sole purpose is to try and find animals. I'm really looking forward to spending some time with some trackers again and tracking myself down in South Africa. It's an incredible skill, and looking forward to learning a bit from the trackers that we use down at Djuma to help us on the bushwalks, not only for helping follow the tracks but also helping by carrying the rifle and kind of keeping an eye out for anything dangerous, while the cameraman and the guide focus on showing you guys a good time. Having an earpiece in your ear kind of makes one half of your body deaf, and listening on bushwalks incredibly important. So it's important that we do have that assistance with a tracker, not only for finding the animals, like I said, but also for just making sure we don't get ourselves into any dangerous situations. Some hyenas. Looks like they possibly heading off into a shady area, possibly their den site. both look quite young. You can tell that because their fur is still quite fluffy and long, and their spots are very easy to notice. The wind is picking up again now, and it's definitely the windy time of the year. I think we need to rush you off to Taylor.
Okay, hi. Sorry, that was a serious surprise. Well, we're driving at the moment. We're actually racing. We're speed racing. So I'm going to try and keep my eyes on the road. The reason why we're speed racing is because it sounds like somebody has found the musketeers, and it sounds like they've done a double backing on us. They changed their direction and went back up towards Talek. So we're going to head around there, but we're very far away, so I'm going to try and drive as fast as I can to get there. So I do apologize. I'm tailing another guide. He said he knows a short way there, so well, we're going to try and stay on his tail, but he's driving too fast that I can't even keep up with him, which says something, because I'm not afraid of the accelerator. Oops, lose my camera. Let me put my camera down here.
Well, as you can see, hyena is slowly but surely just sneaking in here, so Soul is coming in slowly, and that's going to mean that you probably find Shadow's cub might have to go up into the tree. You can see she's just watching now. She's not too perturbed by it, but now she knows she's a little bit faster. There we go. And you'll find she'll go up the tree. The hyena's too busy watching or feeding off a bone that dropped that Shadow's been feeding off. She's on the vertebrate at the moment, so little bits of bone are dropping, which means that the hyenas come in to try and grab and get what it needs. Now, I'm pretty sure Shadow's cub is going to pop up into the tree fairly shortly. At the end of the day, she knows that she's no match for a hyena, and safety will be in the form of a tree. So as this hyena walks closer towards her, she will go up and into it herself. No, she's decided I'm not too perturbed. Bit of arrogance, but you can see she's a fleet-footed little cat, so she'll be able to get up. And it's amazing how the cats in this, well, young leopards in this area learn to grow up with hyenas and become quite brazen with them. I've seen Tiani doing this. I've seen Hasana, Shongile, all of them not really too perturbed by hyenas if there's a tree close by. If there's not a tree close by, it's a very different story. But Shadow's little cub has already worked out exactly where she's going to go if this hyena comes, and she can get up and quickly move into that area. You can also see the hyena is not in any way interested in the cub. It doesn't want to go after her. It's just looking for food more than anything else. So it's hoping that little bits of carcass drop. It's not interested in trying to fight with a leopard and kill a leopard. And it wants the food that's hanging from the tree, and so that's why she can afford to lie there and not have to worry about this hyena too much. Also, at the end of the day, this hyena is not a very old individual, so it still lacks the experience and the brazenness to be able to go after a leopard and really chase them. You find the bigger, older matriarchal females, somebody like Pretty or Madam, or even Gwen, would not be as tolerant or as shy of trying to chase that leopard. As soon as they get a little bit older and they have a bit more experience under the belt, you'll find they'll then become a lot more brazen. Also find that the female hyenas tend to be a lot more sort of aggressive to various predators than what we see from these guys. Big eyes though. It's amazing when you watch these hyenas, how they almost look as though they've never eaten in their life before, and that they're being hard done by not being able to get there. I wonder if they think that, if they kind of have that sort of notion that they wish they could climb like a leopard. You know how we always wish we could do things, like we wish we could fly like a bird, or I wonder if hyenas have that same kind of want from leopards. It'd be interesting to know. You're going to see probably a similar situation. This little one will probably find somewhere to lie down and sleep and wait, and as bits drop, then it'll just come running in and grabbing it. It's exactly like what we just saw, and it's amazing how quickly they can devour bones. I've seen legs drop, and these guys go through it in a matter of seconds. Proud cat mama. This little cub, I suppose small kills it would be able to hoist. I don't think it would be able to take up something the size of that impala. It's unfortunately not going to be strong enough just yet. She's still tiny if you compare her to the size of Shadow, and she'll probably lack the strength at this stage to take up big carcasses. But small things, maybe like little baby duikers or steenbok, yeah, I think she would be able to do that. I've seen her taking up a little piece of a carcass before, so it was basically a leg that she took into a tree, so the instinct is still there, but she doesn't have the strength yet to take up whole carcasses. Unfortunately, she's going to rely on mom for that, and only when she gets maybe a little bit older, when she starts to kind of develop and bulk out a bit, will we see her starting to take up the slightly larger carcasses into a tree. But you must imagine for a leopard it's tough. It's not an easy thing. You imagine now sitting with a backpack, and that backpack you put in as much weight as what you weigh, plus another one, another double what you weigh. Put it into a backpack, put it on your back, and try and climb a tree, and realize how much strength that takes. Also remember, they don't have opposable thumbs, so it's all just using their claws to try and get up there, and the power in their shoulders and their chest area. So it's very difficult, and a young leopard, it takes time until they get strong enough and powerful enough to do it. And even adult females, they'll struggle with the fully grown male impala. It's not an easy thing to hoist. It also is dangling all over the place, and it's dead weight at the end of the day. It's not like that impala is helping it to climb. It's dead weight that is difficult. Now, what are you doing, little one? You can't stalk the hyena, no. And that's just all curiosity at the end of the day. She's just working out exactly what's going on. It's amazing though, watching her movements. She's got those movements of an adult down already. She looks just like she would if she was stalking. You can see she's just keeping her profile nice and low, making sure that the hyena can't really see her, and she can kind of look over the log and watch the hyena. Of course, the hyena knows she's there, without a doubt. That hyena is aware that there's this cub, and I'm pretty sure she's going to make a run for it and try and get up if that hyena gets any closer. But she's still being very brave. I'm pretty impressed with her. I didn't think she would stand her ground as much as this, and kind of sit there and watch the hyena as much as she is. Now, a lot of you might be worried that this little cub is going to get herself into trouble. I don't think so. Like I say, a leopard is a far quicker animal than what a hyena is. It's able to move a lot faster and is able to shoot up into these trees, and I've watched it happen a few times. I've seen leopards going up trees with hyenas after them. It is incredible how lightning quick they can get up there. So she's absolutely fine, and like I said, the hyena's really got not very much interest in this leopard. If she was feeding, different story altogether. That leopard would have rushed in and chased her, but with the lack of food there and the food being above the hyena's focused on that, not on the cub at all. So I'm pretty sure that cub is just fine. It's not the first time it's encountered hyenas, and certainly it won't be the last time. And so I'm pretty sure it's dealt with all of this before and experienced this all before, and that's why it's quite comfortable to sit and take it easy. You can see Shadow's also not too concerned. If she was really concerned that the cub was in danger, she would have been down like a shot and trying to hiss and growl and keep that hyena at bay from her cub. Cheryl, you're wondering how many days until the carcass goes bad. Well, there won't be enough days for it to go completely bad because it will be finished, unfortunately. So you're going to have a situation where that carcass is probably, for us as humans, it will be unfit for consumption already. I mean, that's basically dried, rotten meat that she's eating from 2 days of hot sun. Well, 1 full day of hot sun, should we say. So, for us it would be rotten already, but for a leopard, they'll eat this for probably another day easily. I've seen them eating carcasses that are 4 or 5 days old. I mean, if you look at that carcass from Tingana, where he had the 2 impalas in the tree and he lost it to the lions, and then it was about 4 days later or 5 days later when Tamba and Hosanna and Tingana were all seen there together feeding off that carcass. So that's been a 5-day-old carcass is seriously ripe and rank by then. So they all feed off fairly rotten meat. They don't really have too much of a preference. Nutrients is nutrients, particularly young males like that are trying to find their way. They'll eat it whether they like it or not. It doesn't matter if it's not tasty. They'll still just feed off it because it is nutrients. And so there's no real kind of date or time frame that it becomes sort of unedible for them. They'll just eat until it's finished. And you'll find with this carcass, I mean, by tomorrow morning there'll be nothing left. They'll have fed on everything, and these two will probably move on. Then once they've finished it, they'll move towards water and go and just get that, and then the next obviously hunting opportunity. The thing is though, is that obviously if she sits here and let's say they don't finish it today, she will carry on tomorrow, and she will feed on it tomorrow until, like I say, it is gone. But if something else arrives here and she can hunt it, she will do that as well. So she's not shy to then kill something, even with something in the tree. She will still hunt if there's an opportunity that presents itself. At the end of the day, she's feeding not only herself but this cub, and that is a lot of nutrients that needs to be kind of distributed between the two of them. The cub's getting bigger every single day and eating a lot more, and so she'll just take any opportunity she can because she doesn't know when the next opportunity will be. And so it's not uncommon to find leopards with multiple carcasses and different ages of carcasses. Sometimes they're feeding like this, and an impala herd comes past and they can manage to grab another one and they put it up into a tree and then they feed on that one afterwards. So it does sometimes happen that you will get an abandoned carcass if they are able to get a fresher one. Sometimes you'll find that they'll leave an old one and you'll find a few legs dangling for a couple of weeks until something to start, it's like a civet or a genet, they'll come up and feed off it and it falls, and then the hyenas finish it up. So right, let's see now how this goes, because I think Shadow's cub is waiting for this hyena to move to be able to get in between those two. You see, there's a bone that's just dropped and then hyena's in like a flash. Now Shadow's cub is what she's trying to do. She's trying to get into a place where she can get back up this tree, but she's too concerned that if she goes in that this hyena might get towards her. So she was waiting for the hyena to drift and then she was going to go back up the tree. You can see that bone didn't last all of about 1 second. I don't know if it's found it yet. No, wait, somewhere there. No, it seems like there's no bone, and the cub is still trying to kind of sneak its way towards the tree. Like I say, she wants to get back up to where we had her in the beginning on that arched branch. That's where she's trying to, I think, head back to. And so when the hyena kind of turns and moves away, she's trying to creep and stalk her way in and then up onto the tree before the hyena even notices her. Because sometimes when leopards climb, it triggers hyenas to actually start trying to chase them and kind of get them up into the tree and just kind of form a bit of bravado. Now, this hyena is making me laugh. It's almost scared that Shadow's going to jump down on top of it. There we go. So there went the little one, quick as a flash. As soon as the hyena was distracted, the little one was up into the tree and she was where she needs to be, and you'll find she's going to settle down fairly quickly now. Although I don't know where she's going. Where she's heading is not very pleasant at all. Right, well, that was a nice little bit of excitement and interaction between the two, and so we're going to probably spend a little longer here. I was going to actually leave fairly shortly, but with a bit of interaction going on, we'll stay a little longer and see how it all unfolds and whether the little cub gets some food. And while we do that, I believe Scotty D is still on the banks of the river, and he's got a rather large individual herbivore to show you.
Well, it sounds like you're all having a great time over there with Tristan and the leopards. We are on the banks of the Mara River. We saw an elephant bull heading down towards the water's edge, but he's got, I think, his intentions on feeding and not actually crossing the river, which we were hoping he was going to do. We'll leave him tucked away in the bushes there. I'd like to show you a very pretty bird just down in the bush close to the vehicle here. There we go, it's just popped back. Look at this. A little bee-eater, one of my favorites. Very, very pretty. Now that we've got the old punch zoom, you'll notice a light turquoise eyeliner. A very fancy makeup. And they like perching themselves on kind of set branches, waiting for a bug to fly past, and then they fly and catch it on the wing, and then often come back and land on the very same branch where they launch their attacks from. So let's see, is it going to come back to the same branch? Yep, not the same branch, but the same bush. It's just a little bit above, so it obviously likes right on the top there. It obviously likes getting its breakfast from this spot. It's absolutely fascinating how quiet the Mara is at the moment. We've hardly seen any vehicles, and a huge change to the busier month. There's some camps that have even closed, like Msala's camp, which is one of the camps where our crew stays when we are trying to get work areas far away from our base camp. They've closed down. Hello, Rebecca, you would like to know... I've forgotten what you'd like to know. Oh, do they eat bees? Yes, they will eat bees, but not strictly bees. So any insects, little butterflies, all sorts of small little insects. It's not strictly bees. So often names can be misleading. You know, even a lot of the kingfishers, more of the kingfishers actually all called king, should have been called king insectors. Oh wow, look at this. Look at this. He's having to rest his front legs right on the edge of a little cliff, and he's obviously found some tasty snacks there. It's remarkable the positions elephants can get themselves into. I mean, it's a very, very steep drop off from where his front legs are down into the water. Look at that. Balancing act. And they do climb up onto very, very precarious scenarios, often high up onto rocky mountain tops. They're surprisingly nimble and can get themselves into some interesting scenarios in search of food, just like right now. Imagine if that bank gave way and he just went tumbling head over heels into the water. It would be an incredible scene. I want that to happen, but it could happen. Unlikely. But he's just right. See off quickly. Excuse-moi. Beginning to overheat. Hello, Cheryl. You would like to know which Riviera is this that we are sitting at? It is the Mara River. It is the only large river in the Mara ecosystem. There's a few other smaller tributaries, but if you see any river of a decent size while you're with us, you will know that it is the Mara River. Very good. Well, I'm glad I've put my special technical gear on today, which is an air-conditioned t-shirt. There we have it. Because it's hot. Keeps my back cool. Laundry was a little bit tight by the time I needed to head off to Oloshaiki, the camp we were staying at. So this is my kind of emergency last-minute resort. The rip has got bigger. I fear we're going to have to possibly patch up the shirt. Otherwise, it's going to break altogether. Oh. He's repositioned himself into another interesting spot. I wonder if he's not going to cross the river for us. It'll be so cool if he does. But I'm guessing it may be food that he is after, not necessarily planning on crossing the river. I hope I'm wrong. I'm told a lot of you are concerned that that sandy cliff that he was standing on would give way and he'd go tumbling in, but thankfully he survived that. I think we might need to actually... Is he going to come all the way down? Let's just wait here, because if he does, we're in a great spot to see him cross. Come on, buddy. I don't know if we've got an elephant crossing yet. I think somebody may have seen some ellies crossing. There's been a giraffe crossing, a male lion crossing, of course, along with all the regular zebra, topi, wildebeest, and Thompson's gazelle crossings. And thanks, Kirsty, for confirming we have in fact already got an elephant crossing. But I haven't. So, it will make my day if it does.
unfortunately, the gremlins are still playing havoc with Scotty, so you're back with us in Shadow and her kill, and there's been some entertaining moments while you've been gone, that's for sure. I've laughed plenty because this poor hyena who was just scavenging some of the bones below, as you can see, it's got a bone in its mouth at the moment that it's busy feeding on and carrying off and away. It's the vertebra of this impala that's being carried off. Now, that poor hyena was sitting underneath Shadow, minding its own business, having a little feed, when Shadow decided that it was time to alleviate herself and peed all over the top of that hyena's head, which was really quite unpleasant for the hyena and quite entertaining for us. But anyway, right, I believe Scotty D is back, and he still has a large pachyderm, and the pachyderm, I believe, it's about to start making its way across the Mara River, which should be absolutely beautiful.
Well, I was wrong, and he has made my day and possibly yours too. He has decided to cross the river and help himself to a drink as he goes. Imagine how awesome it would be to be so big that you can just stroll casually across a croc-infested river with not a care in the world. Beautiful. Having said that, crocodiles have occasionally from time to time latched onto the trunks of even quite large elephants. So you do get some random attacks, but ordinarily the elephants don't have too much to worry about. The river's quite low at the moment, as you'll notice. He's not going in very deep, and usually I'd say it would be at least a foot higher than what it is at the moment. Even when we crossed the Purungat Bridge a little bit earlier, the water level was quite low. Absolutely wonderful. You wonder how many liters he's drunk just as he's crossed. Maybe 20 or 30 liters in one sitting, imagine that. Fits about 5 liters, I think, on average into their trunk. So your nose, imagine that. I guess we could also imagine eating about 200 kilograms of salad every day. That's what these guys get up to. Apologies, team. It seems like we're having a few issues with the old black screen. So now that he's crossed the river and we are in a bit of a low-lying signal area, I think we are going to probably head off in search of better signal and some more interesting action. Well done, elephant. Thank you very much. My first Mara River elephant crossing. We got a glimpse of a leopard a bit earlier, female leopard. I'm not sure if anyone in Final Control actually got our picture. We didn't share anything. It could have been that we were in a low-lying area. So that was a pleasant surprise. A very thick riverbed. Lucky she crossed the road as we were going through the crossing. And it's a female leopard that often
Well, I'm glad Scotty got to see his Ellie's crossing. That's amazing. It's always a nice thing to watch. I remember when I was at Lion Sands, it was my absolute favorite thing. We used to have the Sabi River on our southern boundary, and we used to go and sit, and basically you'd find the elephants and you'd see them on either on the north or southern boundary, and you'd then get everybody off the car, and you would go and walk, and there were these massive big boulders in the Sabi River, beautiful, beautiful boulders. And the best thing to do was to go and quickly climb on top of those boulders, especially if they were coming from the southern bank, and then you'd sit on top of the boulders, and as you would sit there, these elephants would just start coming through the water, and you'd have this either early morning or late afternoon light, and the river would be this kind of orangey color and reflect all this color onto these elephants, and they would have this amazing coloration, and then they would cross right in front of you and then come all the way around and be around you on these boulders, and you would be basically above the elephants, and there was no way the elephant could get to you. It was a really difficult thing to get up there. You had to kind of like push everybody up and get them there, but then all the elephants would be around and they'd feed on all the vegetation, and you just sit there quietly and listen to the sounds of the ellies around you as you watch them kind of pile over the river. It is just the most amazing thing. So I'm super glad Scotty got to see the ellies crossing up in the Mara side. Now Shadow's cub somehow has managed to find a bit of her carcass of her own. She went up that branch and there was a piece up that side. I don't know exactly what it is, but she's got, almost looks like a scapula or something like that she's managed to find herself, that she's busy eating and feeding off and enjoying. And I think once she's finished with that, then maybe she'll come out this side. But this carcass is old. It's much older than I first thought. I've gotten to see it as Shadow has twisted it and moved it around. I can actually see the head, but I think she's been on this carcass for 2 days at least, and I think she only fetched the cub yesterday, but she had already fed the day before off this, and it only went and fetched her once she had had a day of feeding, because there is very little left, and the size of their stomachs is not big enough to indicate that they ate all of this overnight. They would be absolutely massive if they had done that, and they haven't. So I'm pretty sure that this is two days old, and she must have just been feeding here by herself. The thing is, though, is that I didn't drive this section. A couple of the other guys did, and they didn't find any tracks for her coming in here. So I don't know how she got to this point without us noticing, and also how we didn't notice that this carcass was in the tree, because this carcass must have been in a tree yesterday already. Otherwise, the hyenas would have stolen it the night before. So interesting, but I don't think they're going to be nearly as long as I first thought. I think by the end of this afternoon we're going to find that they're going to be finished and moving into the night. So I don't know even if they'll be here this afternoon by the looks of things. I mean, she might drop it, but there's enough hopefully to keep them here for at least this during the day, and then into the evening for us to have them around sunset, because like I say, it'll be beautiful if she's here at sunset, particularly if the cub goes and lies on that bottom branch again. It'll be absolutely wonderful. I'm glad the cub's got something to eat as well. It seems to be a bit big for her to chew it down, but she's at least got something. Okay, sorry, the comms are very bad. Go Dogs, you're asking why do we never hear leopards roar? Well, we do. We hear leopards, we don't call it roaring, but they soar, and it's a similar kind of thing. That it's a loud sound that is produced by this cat in order to advertise its dominance or to set up a territory. So we hear it very regularly, actually. We hear it most nights. You'll hear Tingana or Djuma or maybe Tandi or Shadow moving around and making a bit of noise. So there is a lot of calling that does take place. It doesn't sound like a lion's roar, because they make a different sound. It's much like people. We have different sounds, and it's the same thing with the leopards. But they do soar regularly, and they do produce this loud vocal sound in order to advertise themselves and their territory, and to make sure that people understand where exactly they are and how they, or not people but other leopards, understand how their territory is and where they are. And it's done like that because they're trying to avoid conflict with one another. At the end of the day, fighting and being physical with each other is a recipe to be hurt and injured, and so it's better to rather try and vocalize, scent mark, and try and keep a competitor out using that than it is to try and do a situation where they try and kind of fight with one another. So they do make a lot of sound, they do roar, they do kind of produce a loud sound, but we just refer to it as sawing and not roaring. The thing is, though, is also females. So the female we saw last night, or this female, they're not going to be nearly as vocal as the males. You'll find the males are far more vocal. They're the ones that make a lot more noise, particularly at night. You'll find them calling just after sunset and then through the night until about sunrise. Females tend to really only call when they're wanting to mate, or when they've got cubs and they're now trying, or about to have cubs, and they're trying to set up an area before they den, because they know that they're going to be restricted to the den site and therefore cannot move nearly enough to be able to patrol and keep other females out. So they try and extend their territory and make it as big as possible, make a lot of noise, a lot of scent marking, to try and then deter anybody else from coming. Hello, Shadow. Finally, you've looked at us. We've been here all morning, and this is the first time she's looked at us, and now you're going to growl at me too. Nice. Very, very nice. Don't be like that. So I think she's a bit uncomfortable. She's full, she's hot. There's a hyena around. So it's not surprising that there's a little snarl coming from her. She does do it sometimes, but she doesn't mean it in the worst way. Right, unfortunately though, we are going to have to leave the sighting. We've been here for quite some time and everybody's been very patient with us being in the area, and so going to make some space for some of the other guys so that they can get a chance to come and have a look and enjoy what is going on. Beautiful though. What a way to spend the morning. I know we couldn't do bushwalk, but this feels like a good sort of way to start the day. I know bushwalk is amazing and I love doing it, but there's nothing better than really 2 leopards in a tree with a kill, is there? I don't think so. Well, not in my opinion anyway. Many others might disagree with me, probably Steph being one of them, since Steph is absolutely in love with his bushwalks. And so, you know, at the end of the day, I think he might disagree with me spending time with a leopard as being better than a walk, but each to their own, as they say. Right, well, we're going to, like I say, leave the area, let some of the other guys just get a chance to kind of get in here. We've ultimately spent a lot of time kind of dominating the sighting, so to speak, and spending a large portion of our morning here, so we don't want to overstay our welcome and certainly want to give everybody an equal opportunity. Now, you might think I'm going a very long way away to get up here, but it's just because there's so much black monkey orange, which is a type of tree which I'll show you fairly shortly. It's all on my right hand side here, and there's so much of that stuff that it's actually quite difficult to get to where the tree is unless you come from that opposite side or this side, and there was a vehicle blocking me from the opposite side, so no chance to go that way. Careful there, Sense. There's a stump. Meander around, go check some of the water holes just for any sign of maybe some ellies, and while I do that, let's go back across to Taylor Mack, who's still bumbling around, still searching for those 5 spotted beauties.
Hello everyone. We are not having any luck at all this morning. We have been sent around in circles left and right, and I don't know, what is that? That's a Rhinoceros, eh? What is it? What is it, a lion? No, it's termite mound. It's not a cat. I have no idea where these cheetah are. Not a clue. People have said they've seen them. I've yet to see any gatherings of cars. I've probably driven about already this morning, maybe about 60 or 70 kilometers just from going up and down and driving about. I'm very confused. So we went back and we bumped into a vehicle and we had a chat to them, and we followed him for quite some time. It was a car that we were following, and then I stopped again. He stopped where the vultures were and the hyenas when we had them eating a wildebeest carcass, and he said apparently the cheetah are not far from here. So I assumed then, I was like, okay, well then that must definitely be the case. The cheetah must have killed it and the hyenas must have chased them off so they didn't get to finish it. But now I've driven all the way around there and I don't know. I have absolutely no idea where these cats are. I do see a car down there, but it's just one, and typically when you find the musketeers there's plenty of vehicles around them unless you're the first one to find them, so I don't think that's going to be where the cheetah are. So I'm in a loss of words. I'm just going to keep driving until I eventually find them. They said that, I think so, they obviously came back sort of northeast. Instead of going south, maybe the wind changed and they picked up the scent of the lions and decided, no, that's trouble if we go that way, let's turn around and go a different way. So I think that's what's actually happened, but I don't know where to find them. I've spoken to quite a few different people and they all keep telling me to go in a different direction, so I don't know if it's a game that people are playing. I don't know, but there's no cats here. There's absolutely nothing. I just want to go a little bit further around and check along the side of this ridge because I haven't been able to see if there are any vehicles down this side. Otherwise we're going to go back towards the Talek gates and start again and maybe try and find an Askari, and he'll give us the correct responses to where the animals actually are. Oh, if they know, of course, if they've also been given the update. I'm actually going to go back in that direction now. I also haven't seen too many cars racing off into different directions. And normal. Hang on. Just want to quickly check here. But I'm very confused this morning. I feel Scott's pain whenever he tries to find the cheetah. He also gets sent on a bit of a runaround mission where you go from one end of the reserve to the other. It's not a small small piece of land. So this is where we came out last night. Just having another little look. Hey Manu, are you just as confused as I am? I don't know. So this is the main road. And then last night when we left the cheetah, we ended up coming out here and going back. I can't imagine that they would have gone that far. Or why they would have gone that far when there's so much food around for them. I mean, they're not going to just walk, unless they're on a territorial patrol. I don't know. I'm lost. Not lost. I'm just confused now as to where these cats are. And I see vehicles sort of driving in that direction. I don't know, Manu, what do you think? Should we just pretend that we've got Turning's disease and we'll just go like this? We'll just go in circles. We'll just pretend that we're a wildebeest. This is what we're going to do now. We're going to go round and round and round. We're going to get dizzy. And then whichever direction the car decides to film. People are probably watching us going, what on earth is that blonde girl doing? I don't know. I need a bottle. I might spin the bottle, and then whichever way it lands, that's the direction. That's where we are going to go in. I'm so sorry, Kirst. The comms broke up. What did you say to me? Let's see how well Tristan can go around in circles. He's got a smaller car, so he should be able to get it a little bit tighter than I can. Right, off you go, back to South Africa.
Well, Taylor, I will do it, but I can't just do it right where I am now. I don't have enough space, and there's lots of trees, unlike the Masai Mara, that I have to worry about. And so driving in circles here generally means that I'm going to get myself probably injured or senzo, and I don't want to do either of those. And so I'm going to try a little bit of a different maneuver. I'll try and head up towards sort of quarantine side, then I'll do a circle for all of you. And people will probably think I'm completely mad as well. Also with Djuma, we end up doing circles fairly regularly, actually. Just very, 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 very big circles as we negotiate the area and do these kind of big loops round dams and things. Yesterday morning, I think I did Treehouse Dam circuit about 6 times, so I don't really want to be doing too many circles. It makes me dizzy and confused. Right, where can I do? I think maybe the best place would probably be up towards quarantine. I said I was going to go check dams, so I'll head towards Buffelshoek Dam side and go and just have a little look and see what's happening there. I haven't been to Buffelshoek Dam that much recently. I suppose I actually was. I was there yesterday, wasn't I? So I'm just going to head there anyway. Maybe I get lucky with some Ellies or something like that. I don't know. It's going to be worth a bash. Let's go and have a look and see what we can find on that side of the world. Obviously don't have too much time to get there, but I'm going to try anyway. Paul, no, there are unfortunately no black panthers. A black panther is something that occurs in Asia, and so we don't get them, unfortunately. But we do get black leopards, and they're not common and they're not seen very regularly, and I'm not sure when the last time one was seen, but there is a case where black leopards have been seen in South Africa, in the hills that are not too far from us, basically straight to our, what we call it, west. That's right, the Drakensberg Mountains. There's been a black leopard seen there. Hello Mama Z, hello Isaac. So that's Mama Z. Mama Z looks after us and makes sure that we all don't make too much of a mess in camp. She's an absolute champion. She's one of my favorite people in the world. She's always got a smile on her face, always happy to see everybody, always has a nice chat. So I always like Mama Z and seeing her in the morning, and she's a very fun person. So nice to see. I'm also glad to see Isaac, because Isaac, I've noticed in the front seat of that vehicle, is a massive gas bottle. Now that's a gas bottle that is going to hopefully mean that I will have hot water by the sort of end of today, because this last night there was none, and so it would be nice to have a warm shower rather than a cold one. I actually did a year of work, I won't mention where, but I did a year of work where they just couldn't get my hot water right, and so all the way through a winter here in the Sabi Sands with cold water, it was a delightful experience to say the least. I really wasn't very enthused by the whole process. It was absolutely horrid trying to shower in the cold winter months in this cold shower. It was just horrible, so don't really want to repeat that again in my life. Not really the best thing to be doing. It's like I say, some days when you have been rained on, it's cold, you just want to get some nice sort of hot water and you don't have. It is not a very pleasant experience at all. I don't mind it every now and then, but not all the time. Anyway, so that's going to be good. Oh, Senzo is rocking a serious outfit to do. So it's well, today should I say, not to do, because Catmandu is the one who asked the question. Ugh, I'm getting all tongue-tied. But Senzo is rocking a serious outfit today. Senzo is looking very dapper. Senzo, in fact, actually, before we go any further, off the car in front, you've got to show everybody what you look like this morning. Come, Senz. Why? Because you're looking very good this morning. Senzo's in his bushwalk chic this afternoon, or this morning, should I say, sorry. He's got a...
In front of the car.
In the front of the car, we've got to see your outfit. This is how it works, is that we all have been put in front of the camera at some point, and today is your day. Although I seem like I do this to you fairly often, but Senzo is wearing a really nice outfit. There we go. He's running along, and he's going to do a catwalk towards us. There's a nice slide. So there we go, Senzo. Wait, stop. Go back slightly. Back slightly. There we go. So Senzo has got the khaki shirt, which is standard procedure for being out on a bushwalk. He's then got the colourful belt just to add a bit of sort of spice to the outfit, khaki shorts, and then you can see incredible set of socks. These are long bush socks that go all the way up to the knees, that are folded over, followed by a set of gaiters, which are to keep the socks or seeds out of his shoes, and then a pair of veldschoen. There we go, Senzo, looking very good. Well done, buddy. Round of applause. Very nice. So Senzo is looking as good as it can possibly be, and really looking very fashionable indeed. Now, I am heading towards Buffelshoek Dam, and I was going to do circles for all of you, but I'm not going to anymore because there's something actually at Buffelshoek Dam that I want to get to, and there's not really much time to be messing around with circles. I'll do circles this afternoon and join Taylor, but for now I need to go and get to where I want to be, because hopefully we will be able to show you what is at Buffelshoek Dam. I hope it doesn't disappear before we get there. It will be nice if it stays around. Surprise, surprise. Maybe we should do hashtag Safari Live. What you think is at Buffelshoek Dam? Give me an idea of what you think we're going to find on our way there, because something has just been found, and so I can't tell you what, but maybe you can guess. Like I say, hashtag Safari Live or YouTube chat, whichever one you really want to use. That's okay. You can use both of them. Sorry, Nyala. Beep beep. I'm on my way. Sorry. Come on. Thank you. Very nice. Very kind. Always got to be polite to the local wildlife. You don't want to have a situation where Nyala jumps on the car and attacks you like Brent and Wiem. They obviously, Wiem was telling me the story again the other day and showing me on his car where this Nyala went in and kicked and dented and went crazy, and that was the one that hit Brent in the face and gave Brent a nice concussion. So Siberia, Zumi, you say a crocodile? No, not the crocodile. It's not one of those. No, and I'll tell you, it's not a hippo as well. So because there is a hippo at Buffelshoek Dam that we've seen regularly. So not a hippo, not a crocodile. Kirsty, Kirst, what do you think? Let's see what Kirsty thinks. Fiery Red Queen, like we call her. She has often got some punny answers. So terrapin is what the Fiery Red Queen says. No, not a terrapin. While there will be terrapins, that's not what we're going to be finding at Buffelshoek Dam if we head in that direction. Anybody else in FC got an answer? Who's D2 today? Megan. Megan's also always got a vibey answer, as she would say. So what's Megan got to say for herself today? What are we going to find, Megs? I can just see Megs. She's like looking into the sky, pondering, thinking about this. Megs always, when I ask her these things, she has to she always looks up and thinks about it for a long time. Wild dogs, no, Megs, but I like your thinking though. Maybe we'll get lucky with wild dogs, but nope, not wild dogs either. So there's something else that is at Buffelshoek Dam. I'll be impressed actually if somebody gets this. It's going to be a good one. It's not something that we don't see often. Jerry says cheetah. Sorry, Jerry, not the 4 cheetah. If it was the 4 cheetah, well, you would be seeing things flying by as I race towards that area, so it's not that. Noel says elephant. Nope, sorry guys, you're all out of luck so far. Safari Live crew is not in sync with what's going on. Justin, a platypus. Justin, I thought you would never get it, but well done. Yes, there is a platypus at Buffelshoek Dam. It is swimming around, porpoising, going crazy. No, of course we don't get platypus here in South Africa, so not a platypus either, and not an otter. For those of you who are about to jump to the otter train, it's not an otter either. I think you guys will be quite surprised with what it is. Like I say, it's something we do see quite often. And what else? Let me give you some clues. It's something we see fairly often, and something that... What's that? Something that has 4 legs. Yes, it does have 4 legs, which doesn't narrow it down too much. So it does have 4 legs. So lots of you are guessing lions. Nope, not lions either. We've got to keep going, guys. Maybe, just maybe, we'll eventually get this right. But it does have 4 legs, and it does have a fairly long tail. That's what I will give you. So that will be something to work with. It doesn't have a short tail, it has a fairly long tail. I wonder if anyone will actually get this, and moreover, get exactly who. That will give you a big clue as well. Right, now while I try and get there and actually listen to what's going on, because I haven't really been paying attention to the radio, and while I'm heading there, let's try and just find out what exactly is happening, who I'm going to go and see, and while you guys figure it all out, I should figure it out, and hopefully Scott has figured out the Mara and has unlocked a special surprise somewhere.
We are looking out towards home and where breakfast will be. It will be in the center of your screen, just about. There you can see the Angama Lodge, and our camp is just on the other side of those buildings. Kind of looking into, excuse me, the opposite, the valley beyond those buildings. So we've still got a bit of a way to go. Before we get there, though, we are going to stop off at the local gas station and refuel. I was actually concerned we may run out of petrol because the petrol gauge has stopped working, and we were quite low when we left All Shaiki. So we're going to go and get some gas now. At a camp called Serena, which is wonderfully situated high up on this hill. It's got incredible views. We've also actually got some of our equipment that helps send the broadcast, which is just poking up above the trees to our right over there. There we go. That belongs to us, and that is helping to send our picture to all of you guys, wherever you may be on the planet. Well, poor old Taylor hasn't had much luck with the musketeers, but there's still time, and even if she doesn't have luck this morning, maybe somebody will find them during the course of the day, and when she heads out this afternoon, she'll hopefully have some good information. Anyway, why don't you guys jump back on board with her and give her a hand in her search?
Well, Scott, apparently they have been sighted, but I've driven, I don't know, everywhere in the area that they were, and I've not seen any cars gathering. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to jump back on the main road, which we are approaching, and then head towards Talek Gate. And I think I'm going to have to ask one of the Askaris to try and find out some information for me for the day. So that's the plan. It's been particularly quiet. It sounds like from passing the other vehicles, they haven't been seeing too much either this morning. It's just one of those things. Sometimes even in the bustling metropolis of the Masai Mara National Reserve, you can have quiet days too. Perhaps it's the equivalent of, is it Saturday today? It's the weekend. That explains it. Everyone's obviously sleeping in after their hard hard week at work. Hard week at work. That's a good alliteration. So I'm not sure. So maybe we'll see some things along the way. There's just a couple of wildebeest scattered. Everyone's starting to sit down now in the heat of the day. They're ready to have a little bit of a rest before they get up and start feeding again. So we'll keep going. We'll keep going down the main road. About to jump onto it now. Now, Luke, you're wondering if we have any problems with ticks here. I haven't actually seen one tick since I've been here, except for the obviously the ones on the animals. So no, not for people. But again, we're in the car, so we're not really walking around. And although I go hiking quite a bit, and I have yet to pick up a tick. Not even a pepper ticks. South Africa is an absolute nightmare. There's just parasites everywhere, and the ticks, oh, they love Tristan. You should actually ask Tristan, Luke, about his tick experience in SA. It's his favorite. And Steph as well. I think Steph also attracts the ticks. I don't know if their blood is sweet or what it is. I don't seem to be bitten too much, just every now and then, but not up here. It's actually been quite pleasant. And even the mosquitoes. The only time I get bitten by mosquitoes is when I go to Olasheki or anywhere along the river, even at Sala's as well. Well, obviously they're breeding in the water, so they'll hang around those areas. Then I get hammered by the mozzies. But other than that, it's quite good. I was bitten by an assassin bug though 3 times. That was upsetting and particularly painful. My hand still hasn't actually healed. I still have a mark on my hand from where it bit me and on my leg. Quite interesting how it's taken almost 3 weeks, 4 weeks now, and only just healing the scab, basically where it bit me, just disappearing. So yeah, that wasn't fun. I don't ever want to be bitten again by an assassin bug. What else have I been bitten? So yeah, so there's not too much crawling around. The ants are sore when the ants bite you. That's horrible. What else do we have in camp? Rebecca, who's on holiday at the moment, every now and then gets attacked by hairy caterpillars. That's not fun either. That wouldn't be particularly nice. Manu, I don't even know where I'm going anymore. I'm just driving. This is like a highway. Also just scanning for cars because we're quite high up now. It's amazing how we use vantage points as well to try and find sightings. Just like a cheetah would just spot its prey. Manu's laughing now because he's going, I don't even know what was just said. All I heard is something from Gina. But do they spray the ground for ticks? I don't, maybe that, yeah. No, I haven't. Oh, there's, Manu, how did you hear that? That's amazing. Do they spray the ground to keep ticks off tourists? No, I haven't seen them do it. They might do it around the camps, so maybe they take it upon themselves. I know in the Sabi sand in South Africa, for example, they spray for mosquitoes quite a bit because malaria was quite bad this year. They had a ridiculous amount of cases. But no, out here I haven't seen anybody even spraying for mosquitoes other than having your own, mosquito repellent. Manu, I don't know where I am. Let's go back the way we came. This looks like we're not even in the park anymore, but we are. Let's go back up and on the main road. Done some serious driving though and exploring today. Well, not really exploring, just going around. Yeah, I think the Skaris might be the best bet. So maybe what they can do is if we ask them, and if they ask enough people as to where the cheetah are, they'll get a common train. There'll be sure. Comms are red. Sorry, everyone. I think I'm sending you to Tristan or Scott. One of the two of them. They've got something, or they're going to show you something. I'm not sure, but let's go across.
Well, we were hoping to, but it seems to have disappeared, and so we are battling a little bit to find said individual, but I don't know where she's gone. So I'll tell you that it is a she, and the reason why I wanted to come here is just because it's a situation where we probably haven't had too many times on this show, which is to have the two sisters seen in the same morning. So it's Tundi that is here somewhere. For those of you that guessed leopard, well done. So Tundi is here somewhere, but they've lost her as I arrived. They just said to me, no, we don't know where she is, even though they said to me that it was very thick bush. It doesn't seem too thick in here. So I'm trying and look for her where they said they last saw her, but I don't see anything at all. So I'm not sure. Yes, good morning to you too, Franklin. I don't know where she's gone. It's difficult because I didn't see her at all, and these guys, one of them just left before I got here, and the other guy lost it straight away. So I don't know, just maybe she's disappeared in this area. Now I know a lot of you probably hoped it was Shongile. I was also hoping that for a second when they called in a young female, well, I mean a female leopard, but it's Tundi for sure. So they say that she was drinking at Buffelshoek Dam and she's got a very full belly, and so I mean obviously she is pregnant, so she is a bit round because of the pregnancy, but they think she might have had a kill somewhere here because she came to the water and then drank and came back the similar direction. So I'm hoping that we can find her. Maybe she's just stopped wherever this carcass may be and she's just having a little feed, but it's going to be difficult. The more time she's away from us, the harder it's going to be to find her, because at the end of the day, once she disappears, it's tough because she could go in any single direction here. I have no idea which direction she was heading. They just said that she went into this block, so it makes my life quite difficult when people don't follow her until we get here. But anyway, it's okay. We will try our very best to keep looking, and maybe we just get lucky with her somewhere in this general vicinity and she just pops out on one of these termite mounds. Apparently she was heading straight in this direction, which is odd because it's not that thick. I should be able to spot a leopard walking in this fairly easily, so I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Maybe she's gone, who knows. Maybe she chased something, maybe she has a kill that she's stopped and is just laid down and I'm not in the right place. But it would have been nice to have the two sisters, like I say, in the same morning drive, and both of them on a kill would have been even better. But let's see, maybe, just maybe we'll find something here. I don't know. I feel like we might be chasing a ghost at this stage. Problem is we've got lots of monkey orange that keeps pulling out my earpiece. Danielle, I mean, obviously it's a bit of a lottery as to when she's exactly going to give birth, but we think she should give birth around the end of this month, so that's roughly where she should be. So it should be around the sort of last week of November, maybe first week of December, somewhere in that area, if we are correct in our calculations when she was last seen mating. Apparently that's, from what I gather and from what I can remember, that is where we would be kind of situated. So it's somewhere around there, and hopefully it will be somewhere on Djuma. The fact that she's spending a lot of time here is a good indication that she's going to hopefully use one of these areas. The problem is that we're going to have to be very, 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 very on the lookout for the next few kind of weeks to try and just keep up with her and try and keep looking where she's heading constantly and where she's utilizing a lot, because hopefully that'll mean that we can find the den fairly quickly and know exactly where she is, and then that will help us in the long run with being able to kind of protect that area and make sure that people aren't driving around too much and causing too many issues around there. Oh, Tundi, where did you go, girl? Mary Mirror, you're asking how do the cars handle driving over trees? Well, sometimes they don't. Sometimes, unfortunately, a steering arm will bend or something like that. But most of the trees we actually choose to drive over are trees that are very flexible, and so they just bend. That's all that's happening, is there's a bend that happens and then we go over and it just pops straight back up after we've gone past. So we try and choose those kind of trees, and also you try and kind of go over trees that you know are a little softer. Going over things like leadwoods is asking for trouble. That's going to get you in a lot of trouble very, very quickly. So you try and just get into a situation where you try and not sort of utilize those areas. Now somebody is calling me on the radio. Tux, here by this little antenna tower, just still checking around in the block. so nope, Rusty's not going to go over that. So I believe, let's try and just see. Sorry, it sounds a lot worse than it is. That's just a little dead tree that's breaking. Now apparently she saw some kudu and was heading a bit more east, which doesn't really help me now because now I've checked further west of where the guys were. But I'll try and go back to Hippo Pools Road and just have a little look around there. Maybe she's back on the road itself. So apparently she was somewhere in this general vicinity and moving around here. So maybe, just maybe, we're gonna get lucky. I don't know. There's not really much time left. Also, I'm pretty much on my own here trying to find this leopard. So whether we're gonna be successful, I don't think so. So it might have been a massive waste of coming up here, because I thought the guys would at least try and follow her and not just leave her as soon as she went off the road. Just careful there, Sins. It's very, very, very difficult to negotiate this area. Let's see. Right, I'm going to try and just see if I can find something in amongst all of this. I don't know if I'm going to, but while I do that, let's go back across to Taylor Mack, who is having a similar morning in that she's driven around a lot and still battling to find too much going on.
We're also in the same boat, Tristan. I don't think we're going to find anything at the moment. We're actually on our way towards Talek Gate to go and have a chat with the Askaris, and hopefully there'll be maybe some tourists buying some things from the Maasai ladies, who knows, and hopefully their guides will be able to assist us and we can all try and figure out where on earth these cheetah are, because I don't know if they've been found. I don't know if guys have just been imagining them, because every time I've said, have you seen the cheetah, and they say yes, but none of the guests have gone, oh wow, it was so amazing, which is normally the response you get when you mention the word cheetah and they've seen it before you. Love to brag. Which was fine, because that's a great confirmation, and I have not had that from one set of guests so far, so I'm not really sure where these boys are, but it's a huge area. They can honestly be anywhere. I just said to Manu, I still can't believe it, how there were lions, a female cheetah and 5 male cheetahs within a couple of 100 meters of each other, and they're completely gone today. Yeah, suppose these things happen though. We'll probably head out quite early this afternoon. We will go back to camp, but maybe we'll come through about 2:30, 3 o'clock, straight after lunch, relax a little bit now, and then come in and see if we can find these cheetahs so that we've got them for the afternoon safari, or at least that female cheetah. And if these guys aren't playing ball, then maybe we're going to have to go a little bit further south. Maybe look for Malika, maybe look for Imani, whoever we can really find, or whoever we can get information on. It is a bit tough. The reserve is not as busy as what it normally is. It's obviously short rains are coming a lot of these places. A lot of camps do close during this time, just for a little bit, and then they reopen again. So it's also not peak season. The migration is left. Yeah, so it's difficult. Okay, well, we're going to jump out the car now. We're going to have a couple of chats, and hopefully it'll be exciting for this afternoon. But I'm going to send you back across to the other side of the Mara River. Scott's on his way home.
Yes, we are indeed on our way home. We've still got about half an hour or 40 minutes until we get there. And looking forward to see what we can find along the way. Possibly Scar, a big male lion. He likes to hang out anywhere from basically here down for the next kind of 2 miles is where he likes to spend time when he's on this side of the river. He spends time on both the east and the western side of the Mara River. So maybe we'll get to see him or some of his girlfriends. So, Kristen, in Michigan, you'd like to know what the Black Rock Pride has been up to lately. I haven't the faintest idea, nor does Taylor, because neither of us have been there for quite some time. I think Brent was possibly the last person there about a week ago. And because Silas Camp is closed, it means we've got nowhere to stay that's close to that general area, which is the reason why we haven't been going there. Taylor did intend to actually go there, but she had nowhere to stay nearby, and it's a massive, massive ecosystem, this, so unless we well situated at camps, it means certain animals are just not feasible to get to, and the Black Rock Pride is a good example of that. I've never actually been to the Black Rock or the Pride, never seen them. Haven't spent much time down in the southern parts of the Mara Reserve, sadly, but I have been enjoying my time spent with Chitwa further north, so we've all kind of divided and conquered this massive place. But it is a tricky thing. It's something that's possibly easy for you guys not to realize, is that Djuma is tiny. I think we've got a sort of plot. Mean that time with certain animals is tricky. Unless, of course, we're based at a camp near.
Well, unfortunately, it seems as the gremlins are still plaguing Scott's vehicle and still giving him a hard time. And, well, we've had no luck with Thandi. It's pretty difficult. Like I say, I don't really know exactly where they last saw her or where she last went and what her direction was. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to leave it there and just carry on and start heading home. We'll come back this afternoon and try again. Maybe we'll get lucky with some tracks somewhere along the road and sort of figure out what actually went on and where she went. Apparently she was last seen right here at this little termite mound. It doesn't look that thick to me, so I don't really know why she would have disappeared here, but anyway, this is where she was last seen, and unfortunately there's no more sign of her that I can find anyway. She's might be under a little bush somewhere or thicket and taking it easy and just spending a bit of time. I'm just having one last scan as I go through. No. So apparently this is where she was last seen, but as you can see, it's a little bit bushy here, so if she lies down somewhere here, it's going to be difficult to find her. She also could have gone chasing after those kudu that apparently were seen, and maybe that's why she ended up disappearing and heading off in a different direction. But it's amazing, it takes all of only about 2 minutes for one of these leopards to disappear. We were not far behind them at all, and it was literally 1 minute and she was gone. So it's incredible, when a leopard wants to disappear, it disappears very, very, very quickly. While we're here, we might as well just admire this beautiful dead leadwood against the cloudy sky. It's a nice little scene. There's a squirrel here as well that's bouncing around on the leadwood, and that's is not alarm calling, and therefore I doubt that this leopard is anywhere close. Now, I believe, Alamo, you say A for effort. Well, we tried, and like I said, this afternoon will be another chance to get it out here and do it all over again and see what we can find, and maybe we'll get lucky with Thandi. At the end of the day, we know that she's somewhere here. It's just about finding her. But it's been a great morning. Well, I've had a great morning. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope all of you have as well. Seems as though there's been lots of bumbling and lots of interesting things. So from Scott, Taylor, myself, Senzo, cameraman in the Mara, Kirst, and Megan in FC, it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you on the Sunset Safari.